Welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I am Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and we are wrapping up this week's conversation on creative industries with Kristen Muzzy, founder of Riveting Connections.
Hi,
How
Alex.
are you, Kristen?
I'm doing great.
Good. Welcome.
Happy Friday.
Yes. Oh, I love Fridays.
I know.
So
Yeah, me too.
excited.
Friday's the best day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So Kristen is an advocate for manufacturing in Colorado and nationally,
Yes.
actually, I should
Yeah.
say. And you are our advocate for manufacturing here at the
Right.
Colorado Business Roundtable.
I know, and I'm super excited. We've got, so you said, bring me a guest
I did.
about in creative industries. And so I had the opportunity to meet John Fischer and Sara Newman at the NoCom show this year, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And his company is called Sticker Giant. Here it is up on the screen. They are famous for having the largest sticker ball. You won the Guinness.
Yes, we run the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest sticker ball in 2016.
That's congratulations.
Right,
Oh,
so I had to see
thank
it.
you.
It's huge, and it's just nothing but stickers. Right?
So how big is it?
It's big. I mean, it's the biggest.
Biggest in the world?
It's the biggest sticker ball. How much does it weigh? Do you
I
know?
think it's
250 pounds?
no, it's almost 300 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just keep adding
So,
to it.
yeah, we
Is
keep
your-
doing events to get it more and more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your goal to maintain the largest sticker ball in the world?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So anyways, I'm like, these guys are perfect. So I had the opportunity, the great pleasure to go, and thank you very much for the tour of your plant. And Sara Newman, the focus of the show actually today is to focus on the millennial generation. So Sara Newman works at Sticker Giant. She's executive assistant and works in the finance team. And she sat on a panel and captured my interest amongst everybody in the packed room. There was a panel of millennials, and it's how do we engage, how do we attract, retain, and engage millennials? What do millennials want? And I hear this all the time. And John, you've done a phenomenal job at Sticker Giant in creating this very exciting environment. When I walk in there, I'm like, oh my God. Well, where's the applications? I might want to go work there. So we're going to focus on millennials, and we have two millennials. We've got Sara and Alex.
Not me.
Yeah. I'm not there, unfortunately. So John and I'll.
That's the first time I've heard, unfortunately, I'm not a millennial.
You guys have a lot of fun.
We do.
We did too, though, right?
Yeah.
So John, just for our audience, can you give us an overview of Sticker Giant? There's a couple things that I really want to focus on is, just an overview of what is Sticker Giant, okay? And then, how the creative environment that you've got there, and just briefly touch on your operating system.
All right, so Sticker Giant is a manufacturing company in Longmont. We have 52 employees. We've been around about 20 years, and
Why did you start it? That's a great.
oh, that's a really big story.
Okay, shorten it.
Let me just do
okay.
the synopsis
Okay.
of the company. So
Right.
we're manufacturing, and we run a management system called EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, based on a book by Gino Wickman called Traction, and the follow-up book is called Rocket Fuel. And we also run open management, which is financial disclosure, financial transparency throughout the organization.
And I saw it.
Yeah, and we.
It's not just talk.
Yeah,
It's
we do
real.
a really
Yeah.
good job of turning the power triangle that is typical in most manufacturing companies completely upside down. We love to engage everybody in the company so that they feel like they are having an effect on doing meaningful work in the company. So that's Sticker Giant. We were named in 2016 a top 25 small business by Forbes magazine.
Bravo.
It's called Small
That's
Giants. It's very
excellent.
exciting.
Congratulations. That is a fantastic
Yeah.
accomplishment.
And so that's like Sticker Giant in a synopsis. We do product labels and promotional stickers, and that's what we make.
And they've got stickers everywhere. I wish we could show people a tour of your facility, maybe sometime in the future, because it's amazing. All the various stickers, everything from cupcakes to, I saw a big like fish.
We do have a few here if you want to display those out a little bit so we can share with the camera. Sticker Giant. These are fun. So I know I asked off air, but I'm gonna reiterate: scratch and sniff, not there, but possibility. If people want to order through you, they can get some scratch and sniff, right?
Call up customer service. We can probably figure out how to make that happen for you.
Absolutely.
And that's really your secret sauce that I saw, is your customer service and how quick your turnaround is.
Right. We serve the market that is the internet market. We acquire all of our customers on the internet, and
StickerGiant.com.
quick turn. Yeah, everything should ship tomorrow. And that's what we do.
It's amazing. I mean, I saw all your customer service and art group working collaboratively together, and just, I mean, it's a smooth machine, but fun. There's colors everywhere, and anyways, it's awesome. So, Sara, tell us about you and what you do at Sticker. How long have you been at Sticker Giant?
So, I've been at Sticker Giant only since November of last year.
Okay.
So, just a little over 6 months. Before that, I worked for Chase Bank, and I started off as a part-time teller, worked my way up and became an operations specialist there, and realized I really couldn't go any higher unless I wanted to go a different route, and I got this opportunity.
How did the opportunity come?
Yeah.
Just word of mouth, and most of my friends are up in the Longmont area. I live in Aurora, but I was like, this job seems pretty cool, and I might as well give it a go and do something completely different than what I was doing before.
Yeah, and and when I first met you at NOCOM, just the excitement about working at Sticker Giant. So you probably never ever fathomed working in manufacturing.
Oh no, I had no idea how stickers were ever made or any kind of manufacturing. I didn't know how it worked. You know, I grew up like my dad. Had a company kind of like that. So I'd see it when I was really little, but I didn't really understand it. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, I love this. And I can't see myself working, at a financial office anymore. And, wearing suit every single day. And just the atmosphere there is unreal.
So what attracted you to even investigate the opportunity? Was it from your friends telling you that, hey, you got to check this company out?
Yeah, I think just the opportunity. Yeah, just the job and the opportunity versus what I was doing. I was like, well, I'm going to be driving an hour to work every day, and if it doesn't work out, I can leave and do something else. So I just was like, let's just do this, because I was stuck being at a plateau, and I don't want to be there.
Why not dive in? Right?
Exactly.
That's always more of a question, I feel like, every time I change careers. Why not?
Yeah, you never know. You never want to be like, what if I did it? What if I did that, in the future? So
exactly.
We plan to keep her around a long time.
I can tell.
Keep those incentives coming.
So tell us, the whole theme of today is to talk about, what do millennials want? What do you guys want? And I hear that, I see that in industry magazines and newspapers. Is what do the millennials want? Is it the 4-day work week or the 4-hour day, right?
Yeah.
Or not?
Everybody eventually wants that. Right?
Sure, everybody wants it.
Who is that? Tim Ferriss?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tim Ferriss. So, what is it that you want? What is it that, let's let everybody know. What does a millennial want? What do you want in a job?
So lots of people ask that all the time, and, every millennial can give their answers, and then everybody's like, oh, that's what I want too. It's really no different from any generation or anything. Everybody wants, the American dream. They want to have a job that they love, that they go to every day. They want to have a house. They want to have money to go on vacations. They want to have friends. They want to be successful and live a happy, perfect life, you know? So everybody wants that. As far as the workplace goes, benefits, things like that have not really changed either. If you survey like a baby boomer to a millennial, we all want the same things, flexible hours,
Sure.
you know, just typical types of benefits.
Yeah.
So it really isn't different.
You know, that's exactly what I heard when I sat and listened to the panel at NOCOM. And there were a number of people sitting at my table as we're listening to everybody, and we're all just nodding our heads, and we're like, that's exactly what I wanted. But the big, I think one of the big differences, and I'd love to have your input on this, is I think one of the big differences is the instant access to information. That's a big difference from, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, right? Is the instant access to answer questions, to find out what's available for you.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a lot more options instantly than we did. And that doesn't change what you want. It just changes how quick you can make a decision, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely.
Do you agree?
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for a job that I need to work Tuesday through Saturday, say, that's my MO,
Yeah.
I can find that instantaneously. And if I'm not getting that here, I'm going to move on to that other job, right?
Right.
If I need more health care for my kids or spouse, right, I'm going to search that career and find that right away. And if I'm not getting that here, I can move on and I have that option.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you can find reviews on companies quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yes, which makes the difference.
John, how'd you look for your first job?
A very good friend of mine's father asked me if I wanted to apply and interview for a job.
That's very similar to mine. It was a friend of the family that I went to work in a bookstore, in her bookstore. Yeah. And that's how I got my first job. But then after that, I was going into the newspaper, right? Or there was the help wanted signs out, although I see a lot of those today.
Yeah.
They're trying everything to recruit people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really that was enlightening for a number of people, including myself. As each one of you were talking, some of you would go into, and I think it was you, Sara, that said, I want to be respected. I want to be respected. I don't want to be told everything to do, but to provide me. Can you elaborate on that?
Definitely. Nobody wants somebody telling them what to do 100% of the time. Like, you have to do it exactly this way. This is the correct way. Everybody wants to try it, their own way. And if they fail, then they need to accept it and try another way. And it's just that respect factor. Not, some people say millennials want to be babied and everybody gets the gold medal. And
live in their parents' basement.
Like, hey, kind of messed up, but good try. We still really need those failures, to learn. So there's a little myth around that. But yeah, just being respected. But that's, everybody wants that.
I agree with you. I always say that, I may have gotten a participation trophy at every soccer game that I went to, but I still know that I lost the game. Yeah. I know we didn't score as much as the other team. So it's still not great to get that gold you participated medal, right? I don't need that coddling either. Yeah, no. I think that's one thing that, and we didn't do that to ourselves. I don't recall making myself a participation trophy.
Oh, no. Yeah. It was our generation that created that for you.
Well, yeah, but it's also, you want more for your kids than you had for yourself. Yeah. Obviously, that respect.
That's a big,
yeah.
Like, my parents, they did everything in the whole world to make sure me and my brothers were okay. They never took risks or chances or anything. They did, what they had to do to, get us by and give us great lives. But it wasn't about them at all. It was always, to make us better. And
absolutely. Yeah. And I think we just, in return, the respect thing, I think, goes a long way, right? Which you guys can attest to that, too, when you first started out in your careers, right? There was somebody standing, breathing over your shoulder. I'm sure the whole first week you were there.
In fact, why did you create Sticker Giant? There was a little
out
impetus.
I was a senior person at Whole Foods, and our division shut down. I was out of work in Colorado, and then George Bush, Al Gore election happened, and I had a sticker idea, and I started an online sticker store. And I had the same dream a lot of people have, which is to work for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And so I pursued that. And I think a lot of what Sarah's talking about is because there's that access to information, right? The millennials want to be able to do meaningful work, and they want to be able to affect their workplace environment. And that is like one of the biggest things about Sticker Giant that attracts people to us is they are able to affect their own workplace environment. They're able to do meaningful work, and they're able to contribute to the success of the company in a meaningful way. Whereas when I was young in my career, I didn't get to decide a lot of that because the information didn't exist. The IT resources to make changes to business infrastructure didn't exist. And so we just had to do it a certain way. All right?
Follow the steps, 1 through 10. Put in your request and wait. And wait.
And I think another reason that Sticker Giants run the way it is and has attracted people like Sara is that I went to art school. I'm not a business guy. I don't have an MBA. And so I needed help running my business. I didn't know how to do it. You know, so it works out really well to leverage the intelligence of 52 people rather than just me and a handful of people. You know?
Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
Well, also, I feel like with Sticker Giant, it's a company that you really don't have to have any kind of prior experience, a degree. You know, they're like, oh, this sounds like a cool company to work for. I want to go interview, and it's more about the personalities and being able to train and learn on the job. Versus a lot of companies, like, yeah, you can go find a job on your phone real quick, but you need 3 years experience for a starting position, making minimum wage.
You need an X degree.
You have to have a certain degree with a certain amount of experience. And you're like, well,
versus
you can't.
That brings up something that we were talking about earlier, and the 4-year degree versus. And what were you saying?
So
Sarah?
Like a trade school or a skills-based degree. So and. Like a 4-year college or any kind of university, that's going to be looked upon way higher than somebody that went to school to be a plumber, and that's a thing too. Like, oh, I'm not, if you're out of high school and you're going to a college, everybody's so happy for you and it's like, you're going to do awesome in life with your degree from a state university rather than if you went to a trade school to learn,
Now what do you think of that? What do you think of the 4-year versus knowing what you know now and being involved a bit now in the manufacturing community? What do you think of all that?
Well, when I graduated high school, I wasn't for sure going to go to college or not. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I decided, I was like, well, everybody's going to school. I'm going to go give it a try. I went to school here in Boulder, and I made it a year, and I was like, no, this isn't really for me. So my dad has always told me it's who you know, not what you know, a lot of the times.
True.
And so I was like, I don't want to spend all this money and be in debt with something that I don't know what I want to do yet. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went to school, so I never missed out and wondered what it would be like.
You tried it.
I tried it and realized it wasn't for me, but I'm not in debt from it, and I'm not stuck with a degree, and I've had all those years in different careers trying to see what I like, and, who knows if I'll be here forever. Probably for a long time. But, yeah, I wouldn't have been here if I, stayed in college all those years.
Yeah. Good point. I see. What do you think, Alex? I mean, what do you think of the 4-year degree versus skills-based?
I had a roundabout way actually to my career path as well. I put 3 years under my belt before I decided it wasn't for me, and part of me still wishes I just would have finished out that 4 years. It was with a psych degree though, and really, if you want to make money in that field, you've got to continue on and get at least a master's, if not a doctorate, right?
You got another 8 years to go.
I had no passion to end up in social work, and I admire people that can do social work. It was not for me. And so I dropped out 3 years in, and I have a pretty big bill still from that. I am paying that off, but I became a flight attendant after that. And so it was a great way to see the world. All you need is a GED or high school diploma. And over 5 foot. That is one of the other requirements. You have to be over 5 foot, I should say. But it was a great way to see the world. But about 5 years in, it was old hat, right? It's that, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's that just mentality of, okay, here's your peanuts, here's your Coke. But so I decided to go back to school at that point, and I went to the Community College of Denver and threw spaghetti at a wall and took different classes until I found one I liked and fell in love with journalism. And I ended up interning here, and they kept me. So.
Yeah. And love you. You do an amazing job.
Well, thank you. But yeah, it took a roundabout way. I didn't get a college degree until I was 30, and I love the fact that I get to work with lots of people in workforce development that encourage that we don't need 4-year degrees. No. You don't need a degree at all in a lot of places, right? It's a skill-specific certificate even, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is just lovely.
Well, Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy, he has a fantastic whole entire theory on this, and I love his approach, which is, every year our economy is growing 2 to 4% a year, but every year there's 2 to 4% less people in the trades and going to school for that. And so I have so many associates and friends that don't have a college degree and are making great money in the trades.
Absolutely.
And own their own businesses and have no student debt. That's not to say that a 4-year liberal arts degree is not for everybody. There is a place in the world for that. But
absolutely.
if you go 40
but that's
years,
not the only path.
Right.
That's the big deal.
Sometimes, especially in school, I remember being in junior high, and they're like, "Oh, we're preparing you for high school," and then all through high school, "We're preparing you for college." I'm like, I asked a teacher once, "What if I'm not going to college?" He's like, "Well, what are you going to do then?" And I'm like,
"What do you mean?"
Well, some of us are not. We're not going to go to school. Like, how are we going to live as just adults? And he was just so dumbfounded that I asked that question. Like, no other student has ever asked him that before. And it's just such the norm, And at the panel, there's one question that somebody asked, but we didn't have enough time for. And it was like, what's the biggest difference between millennials and, everyone else? And one of the things I believe is college education. 20 years ago, it was a really big thing if you had a degree because most people didn't.
That's true.
And so those people got those jobs first. But now when everybody graduates and everybody has those degrees, they're like, what else you got?
Yeah. You need another skill.
And so that's a really big difference. But then if you don't have it too, then they're like, well, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have this degree?
Right. Versus if we look at skills-based hiring, all right, and training, then it's very different. Now we're bringing down the walls, I think, of looking at college-educated individuals as, better than, more apt to succeed. Versus everybody here at this table, and I'm sure in our audience too, I'd be surprised if they thought differently. But everybody has a contribution. Whether they went to college, they went to a trade school, they learned on the job, they learned on the farm, or the ranch, or in the backyard, in the garage. It's skills based.
I asked a recruiter one time what it meant to have that 4-year degree, what it means on an application or a resume, right? And she said that they're just looking for follow through. And I was like, how does having a career at one job for 5 years not show follow through, right?
Yeah.
Or how does how else can I show you that I have follow through without having to get a 4-year degree?
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was younger, my dad always told me, like, if you need a job, if you just go in there every single day, asking for that job, showing your face, being persistent, they'll hire you over, somebody that just drops off a resume and is like, waiting for a phone call,
Shows desire, right?
Yeah.
Desire and commitment and perseverance. Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're about ready to break, and when we come back, want to talk more about millennials in manufacturing and the workplace, and how we retain you, and how we can engage you better.
Yes, I want to hear more about this American/Colorado dream too.
Yes,
when
I
we
do
get back. Stay with us here on Connect and Collaborate. In the meantime, like and subscribe our YouTube page. Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, here with Kristen Muzzy of Riveting Connections and our manufacturing advocate. I would like to talk at some point here at Covert. And you've got some great guests here today.
We do. It's Creative Industry Week, and we have a creative industry sticker giant. We've got John Fischer, and we have Sara Newman from Sticker Giant. John is the founder of Sticker Giant, and Sara Newman is a millennial. Sorry, I don't like it's a big neon, but we're talking about millennials in the workplace. And Sara, you were hired back in November at Sticker Giant, right?
Yeah.
As an executive assistant for John. And John, you went. What was it about Sara that you said, yes, this is the one?
Her dedication to her previous endeavors was impressive.
Yeah.
And her intelligence was apparent.
Yeah, that's evident.
And after a few discussions, I realized that I could trust her to be an executive assistant. That's a sensitive sort of topic. She has access to all the information.
Absolutely.
Right. And so
not going to sell him down the river.
Yeah. She got the job not based on her degree. She got the job based on her efforts.
Gotcha.
In previous endeavors. So.
What a concept.
Yeah.
I wish more people thought that way.
Yeah.
True experience, right?
Yes.
And character traits that come out in discussions and references, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now you work, so I heard she was so good that it wasn't a full-time job?
I thought it was a full-time job, but it was not a full-time job. No. It was much less than a full-time job.
I learned a lot with everybody else's jobs. I was like, hey, teach me what you're doing.
Awesome.
Is there a way I can help?
Yeah.
Which that has to be a great trait, too, to want to learn. Curiosity is something you cannot teach, right?
Yeah.
It's money.
That's just a desire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to want to learn and then dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
that makes for a great employee always.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're working in the finance department.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. And I'm sure you're investigating other areas too.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot because we've had a lot of things come up, and so my manager now, she can't really train me full time because she's at all these other things. So I've been just kind of learning as I go and learning a lot about the business and,
Excellent.
more with employees and other departments and dealing with lots of other people outside of Sticker Giant. So it's been really
So you're
awesome.
not this stereotypical millennial that we read about and hear about.
You have killed lots of industries, by the way. Just you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I would like to think I'm not typical, but I'm sure every millennial doesn't think of themselves as a millennial. They're like, oh, they hate that term.
And I said stereotypical.
Oh, yeah, stereotypical.
I'm not saying typical at all.
Yeah.
I want to dispel the myth out there because I've had the pleasure now to work with a number of millennials and meet more and more millennials, and you're me.
Essentially, yeah.
You're me a few years ago, like 5 years ago. But so one thing I think is really important, especially to our audience, is the question that goes through that I hear often, and the question that we read about is how do we attract? How do manufacturers attract more millennials? And in our conversation off air, you brought up some really, really good points, Sara. So could you talk to us about, especially on the financial side, what can creative ways can our industries do to recruit and retain?
Definitely. So as I said before, every company offers the same kinds of benefits. Some are a little bit better, with healthcare and things like that. But typically every company is required a certain amount of benefits, things like that. One of the benefits I was reading in an article the other day that was higher ranking than everything else was companies that pay back student loans for their employees, and which is actually higher than flexibility, which has always been the number one benefit in a job. for every generation, that's what's always been the highest, is the flexibility.
Is the flexibility.
Yes.
I want flexible hours.
Yeah, they want to be able to, if they're, kids sick or or they have something to do, that they can, move around their hours, and
interesting.
They're not tied
so
there
now
all
student
day.
loans is
But
top.
that one is,
well, there you go, people.
Oh, yeah.
Student loans, number one.
Yes.
Now, what about for people that don't have student loans? So what other financial incentives?
Some other ones that are getting more popular are like maternity leaves, paternity leaves, things like that. A lot of people think that millennials just want like, foosball in the break room and, a cake and, parties after work and things like that. And, that's really not the case.
Sure.
We want to be able to afford to live the life that we want to live, and not have any kind of accidents or anything happen to
let's talk about Colorado specifically, right?
Yes.
I mean, Colorado is growing like crazy for a number of reasons. We have this beautiful state that we live in. We've got this great outdoor playground and clean air, and I mean, it's a great place to be, right? So, but with all that growth comes a much higher cost of living.
Yes.
So, talk to you had mentioned a few things about that as well.
John mentions that sometimes that he almost hopes that our housing market crashes just so all of our employees can buy houses. We don't really want that, but he wants everybody to be able to afford to live there.
Absolutely.
And everybody does.
The American dream.
It
right?
is. And
to own a house, have a good job.
Yeah, I like to, there's the American dream, and then I also like to say the Colorado dream, because we're in this little bubble of Colorado where we have all these fun things, at on our fingertips, and we can't afford it either.
Right.
So it's like, am I gonna get groceries this week, or am I gonna go to the mountains and snowboard?
How many people can I roommate with?
How many people can you stuff into an apartment? Yes. Yeah. And people from all over the U.S. move here, and they're like, Colorado's so great. This is so awesome. And then they just paid rent, and I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go do this? Oh, we just paid rent.
Yeah.
Like maybe in a couple of weeks. I'm like, you guys moved here 2 weeks ago, and you already,
now you can't even play out.
Yeah, so hopefully you have a
outdoors.
nice apartment with like a pool.
But then hiking is always free,
hiking,
right?
yes, exactly.
So I think our best way of attracting millennials is to treat the millennials that we have in our company really well and give them the tools to do the things that Sarah's describing. We have people in Sticker Giant all the time. Even in the housing market, we have signing on houses. I can think of 4 or 5 employees that are young in the recent history of Sticker Giant have gotten their first houses, and I'm like so happy for them.
Absolutely.
And I worry about their mortgage payments for them. And so we try and do things to make that more affordable. We have a really rich bonus program. So the more profitable Sticker Giant gets, employees can get really, really big bonuses.
Yeah.
And we pay 100% of health care deductible. I mean, not deductibles, but premiums. And, you gotta, if you treat people well, they're going to tell their friends who are not happy in their jobs, and you're going to get great people as a result, because people aren't going to ask their friends who are losers to come work with them.
This is true, because the bonus program there, that's really, really important.
And reinvesting in your people, hands down, is always the best way to run a business, because if you've got happy people, you're going to have happy customers, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's inevitable.
Yeah, absolutely, and it shows through. I mean, your business keeps growing, right? I mean, year over year, you're just
25% a year.
That's fantastic.
Wow, yeah,
that is fantastic.
Congrats.
So you're producing just high quality product quickly. You're listening to your customer. They want custom stickers. As quickly as possible, right? In many cases, and you just do it, and without, I used to work for a graphics company, and it would take forever to get the proofs and the back and forth with the art department. So I was amazed that you're able to do this so quickly. I mean, that's incredible. And you've got great people doing it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody I tell, I'm like, oh, this is what Sticker Giant offers. And I tell them about the Gain Share program and our open book system. People are like, what? They tell you that? And
do you mind talking a little bit about the open book?
Yeah, so open book. So every week, the whole company gets together and we do a 30-minute meeting. We have
the entire company.
Yeah, the whole company.
Okay. Except me.
Except
yeah.
Oh, you're not.
Are you not allowed, or
he comes every once?
I come every once.
Oh,
in a
okay.
while.
Yeah. Okay.
Occasionally, but I haven't.
But he
been
doesn't
lately.
have to be there.
Okay.
But we have all these. They're called KPIs, key performance indicators. So we call them our lines, and so everybody has a line. Maybe like 10 people have lines, and it's not necessarily like the management team. Just people on in customer service or people in art.
Okay.
And so they keep track of certain things. So like I am in the finance department, so I've been keeping track of how much money we pay out each week. So that's my line. So I do a forecast of what I think we're going to pay out next week, and then I do an actual of what we actually paid out. We have the 80-20 rule where we only look back 20%, like what did happen, and 80% in the future, what we're going to do to get there and to get those numbers. And then, so everybody's really working as a team. Everybody knows exactly what's happening. If we're not making enough money, if we're not shipping out on time, if we're having to remake a lot of stickers, everybody really knows what's going on. And so then at the end of the month, all the numbers come out, and if we make over our revenue.
So the employees at the beginning of the quarter do a planning session themselves, and they bring me numbers and say, John, this is what we think our revenue, expenses, and profit are going to be, and I approve it every time. They work really hard and set huge goals for themselves, and so then I'm done. I'm the primary shareholder, and I'm like, this is good. I'm happy with this. So if the employees do stuff that beats that, then I'm going to take 34.5% of that and put it in a pool, and I'm going to give it back to the employees in the form of bonuses. And I think last quarter everybody got over $2,000 in a quarterly bonus.
That's so exciting.
It really is like, okay, we all did this, and we all get to share it. And a lot of companies, they just keep taking away bonuses.
Right.
And one thing John asked me one time, he's like, because it's open book, we can see all the finances. We know exactly what they're making. We know what he's making, And he's like, why doesn't anybody rebel wanting more? And I'm like, well, we didn't spend 17 years, every single day trying to make the company what it is.
Yeah.
I think the second anybody would ever rebel is if we saw those numbers and then we got stuff taken away from us, then people will start getting upset. But I think since everybody can see it and knows how the company is doing and know that we all have our jobs and nothing is going to happen, I think everybody just stays happy.
And if the company keeps growing and you keep contributing and be innovative, the pot gets bigger and bigger and everybody benefits.
Oh yeah, everybody wins.
That's
a play the game.
We work really hard to improve our benefits every year, just a little bit every year, right? And so so far we've had a really good track record with that.
That's impressive, because that's not always easy to say, right? You can do the bonuses and things, but improving your benefit package is not always easy. So that's impressive that you're able to do that, even by just a little bit every year. Yeah. I wanted to visit this KPIs thing again. You mentioned that it's not necessarily management positions, the people that hold the lines.
Yep.
What an interesting concept. Was that your idea? How did that come about? Where did that discussion start? Because I think that's awesome that it's not just management holding those, right? Yeah.
I don't know where you guys.
So there's two books a book and then a series of classes. The first book is The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack and Bo Burlingham. It's been around for 25 years. It is the guidebook for how to run open management. And then there's a company in Ann Arbor, Michigan called Zing Train, and Zing Train teaches fun, flavorful finance to any kind of company, on how to do open management in their style. And so we've done both methods, and it's took 7 years to get really, really good at it. But the neat thing is, after 7 years of running open management, we're able to predict our months and our expenses very, very accurately within a couple percentage points on a regular basis. And so it's a really powerful tool to get everybody involved.
That's amazing. And did you have coaching? Did you bring somebody in to help you launch this internally?
I have a 10% partner. He owns 10% of the company. His name's Bill Flagg, and he helped all of his companies. He owns little parts of a bunch of companies in Boulder. And he helped all of his companies implement this, and we're all doing really, really well with it. I encourage people to get the Great Game of Business and to read it, because literally I've told hundreds of companies about this and coached companies on this. And every company that rolls up their sleeves and does this for the long haul, commits to doing it, has better results.
Or even just keeping
transparency
track of those things.
And getting people engaged and being a part of. Is a big, I mean, definitely. You know, there's always this talk. I mean, open book management way back, you know, I studied that in college, but nobody ever really did it. There was only some people that got the open book, you know.
It's hard. It takes work. And it also requires founders, owners, CEOs, and management to let go of the vines and to give the levers of the business back to the employees.
Right. The people that can actually affect change and innovation, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you ever fear having like a Hunger Games situation on your hands?
Hunger Games?
No.
Okay. Best answer you could have given, actually. Yes.
Wow. Hunger Game. So how long did it take you from, you know, okay, you made the decision, we're going to do this. How long did it take you to actually feel like it was working? You know, people got it, the open book.
So we started running the program, and we didn't have a lot of the mechanisms we have in the company now to be able to predict the future, provide the data in a reliable fashion. So we were wildly inaccurate in our plan. Sure. And so I had always been the boss who was like, Christmas bonuses are stupid. What is it about Christmas? Why are we giving people money on Christmas? And so I was like, this is just dumb. And so the timing worked out where the first period that we did this was it ended at the end of the year.
Christmas.
And so they failed. We planned. Nobody got a Christmas bonus. And shortly after that, it used to be Thursdays, now it's Wednesdays, because we're getting better at what we do, check signings, where all the money that's going out, we sign checks, and everybody in the company is invited, and usually new employees come. And so I had a payables meeting, and it used to just be Eileen, my bookkeeper, and head of the finance department, and myself, and we'd sign the checks. And I remember the day that 4 or 5 people showed up. And I literally started crying in the middle of the meeting, because I'm like, oh shit, finally, there's somebody who cares. And like, it got better. Like, now I can sleep at night. I don't wake up in the middle of the night worrying about payables, payroll, and everything. So I have shared the insomnia. I've shared the burden of running the business. And when people started showing up and caring, that's when I knew it worked. And it took a couple quarters for people to realize that I was serious about this. I am not giving this up. And then the other turning point was when we won, and the employee group won and got, some of the early bonuses in the early days, because we were not very good at predicting. They would be planned by so much that everybody got like $3,000, right? And so like, okay, this is really
that's
fantastic.
Exciting.
And so, it's been a really neat journey, and it's hard, but all of the things you have to do to implement it are really, really good practices for your business.
What's the retention at Sticker Giant, employee retention? Roughly. I mean,
nobody ever leaves.
Really?
Drink the water.
No, there's there's people that have been there since the beginning that are still there, and then as we're growing, we need more people. But I feel like people only leave if they have some kind of big life event. Yeah, and they have to leave for some other reason.
So here's another reason to open up the books and get people engaged. I spent quite a while reading up and studying employee engagement, right? And there's all these philosophies out there and tools and practices. But here's something that obviously really works. It's not just the open book management system. It's not just that. But it's also, what would you say in the management style at Sticker Giant keeps you and other people there? What is it outside of that? And and you can't say anything, John.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think that most people like it there because they don't have, their managers aren't telling them constantly what to do. You know, we have teams of people from each department that if there's an issue, they get together and they're like, let's figure this out on our own and, you know, use our resources. But it's not managers like, this is wrong, you need to fix this right now, you need to figure out this way, and this is how you're going to do it. They let go of the reins, and people really are self-sufficient and think of new ideas to run the business better.
That's what I keep hearing over and over again. And I think this comes from your entrepreneurial roots, if I can just put this out here, is you want people to take a risk because that's where you get innovation and growth. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was punting.
Yeah.
Holes
but
above.
that's what I keep hearing.
As CEO, all I do now is look for holes below the waterline. Okay, I'm going to let employees poke holes in the hull of the ship above the waterline all day because they're going to fix them. They're easily fixed, right? I'm going to my job now is just to look for potential holes below the waterline because those are harder to fix. Okay,
yeah.
And it's not very often I have to intervene at all.
Well, and we talked a little bit about the stream, right, of the flexibility. Mm-hmm. Lots of CEOs we hear all the time don't have flexibility. They're up for, 18 hours a day trying to get all the emails and fix all the things. But I would imagine that let other people take the reins and make these holes, you're allowing yourself more flexibility, right?
I'm looking for things to do.
Which is that is the American dream as a CEO, right? You should be looking for things to do.
Well,
yeah.
I hear another business about ready to launch.
So if I am looking for a job, where...
Excuse me.
I said if. Said if. Forgive me, boss. Where would I go to find... Are you hiring? I should ask. I would assume that you're always
Sticker
hiring.
Giant hiring?
I don't know if we have any positions posted right now, but I think we are on an ongoing basis growing. We'll be 100 people in a few years. We're 50 now, so I mean that's our vision. And because of our forecasting abilities, we know that we're going to be 100 people in 3 years. Right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And so on our website we have a page. I think it's I'm not sure what it is. Maybe careers or something along those lines. But we have a page, and if you search for Sticker Giant jobs, it'll come up.
StickerGiant.com.
Yeah. It's
easy breezy.
Super easy to remember that. Any last thoughts on this millennial in the workplace?
One thing that has been on my mind since NoCom, and I can't get it out of my head, and it's kind of off topic, but it's around attracting millennials. There's one thing I notice a lot of companies are doing is they're giving their own employees bonuses to find people to work for them. So if there's a job open, they're like, hey, we'll give you $1,000 bonus if whoever goes out and finds somebody to fill this position. And I was talking to John about this right after, and in my mind, I'm like, well, as me, if I had a position open and I was like, oh, hey, friend, come work for Sticker Giant. It's going to be super awesome. I want that $1,000 bonus. I really don't care who it is. And then now that person does poorly or something happens, then my name is almost on it. And then I feel like it's almost a cop-out for employers to be like, oh, you go do the recruiting for us. Here's a $1,000 bonus rather than, going to, there's a place in Boulder, Creative Alignments, which is super awesome recruiting. It's not like Indeed where there's thousands of applicants, things like that. But, you can put a lot of money in and you can really find a lot of really awesome people.
That's great. That's a really good feedback. We are so glad I could keep talking and keep talking.
I know.
So glad to have you, Sara, and you, John, on the show today. And we want to bring you back. But for everybody, go to StickerGiant.com, order some stickers. They don't have scratch and sniff, but they can get them for you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and we've had a great time doing Creative Industries. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page.